Okay. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Park Board of Commissioners for the Park Ridge Park District. The date is Thursday, February 15th. The time is 7. Could we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Bendy,
Here.
Bo,
Here.
Grau,
Here.
Halting,
Here.
Leduc,
Present.
Tunnel.
Here. Would anyone like to amend, add, or delete an item to the current agenda? Seeing none, would anyone like to from the public comment on non-agenda items? Hearing none, we will move on to the Community Service Awards presentation. Welcome, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for coming. Community Service Awards are provided each year through the IPRA and local park districts. The purpose of the award is an opportunity for the park district to recognize individuals or groups that have gone above and beyond in volunteering their time and or talents towards the betterment of the Park Ridge Park District. The individuals and groups that have been given the 2024 Community Service Awards met the criteria above and were instrumental in furthering the mission of the Park Ridge Park District to enhance the Park Ridge quality of life by providing park and recreation opportunities for all residents while being environmentally and fiscally responsible. The first person we'd like to recognize is Bob Ryan. So we have a lot of nice words to say for you. Bob is the president of our pickleball affiliate. He's been a tremendous help to the Park District as we've worked to bring more pickleball to Park Ridge. You first advocated for the outdoor pickleball courts in 2023, and the district opened our first true facility with 6 courts. The Park District has added 6 dedicated courts at Northeast Park and plans for more at South Park. The Park District Bob has attended many meetings to review and discuss plans with many of your fellow representatives. Worked with staff to make sure the facility at Woodland Park had certain design features, assisted with rules and signage, which is very helpful. You're also regularly playing at both the indoor and outdoor courts and is always welcoming to all new players. We'd like to thank Bob for all he's done to advance pickleball in the community and support the Park District.
Yeah. And she's nervous.
And he was playing what, yesterday? out
Yesterday,
there,
yeah.
you
So-
said? Yay. Definitely a true pickleball.
Next up, Dr. Gary Martin, Lynn Atskostanis, and Sue Schwark.
Come on up, buddy. You just stand over here.
Thanks.
Welcome. Gary and Lynn served co-chairs of the Citizens for Oakton Park, and Sue served as the organization's treasurer. They spent countless hours educating the community on the benefits of the Oakton referendum project. Among other initiatives, they conducted a large sign and banner initiative and knocked on many doors. Thank you for that. The efforts have resulted in our ability to expand recreational opportunities for the residents of Park Ridge. This spring, the district will break ground on the new Oakton facility, and we thought it was a great time to recognize your efforts. Thank you very much.
Get the baby in the picture. Be cute. You should get the baby in the picture. Be cute.
last but not least, we'd like to recognize the Park Ridge Police.
It's the only time I can boss them around. Yeah, exactly.
Tread lightly.
Chief Campworth and the entire police department have partnered with the district to help keep our parks safe, particularly in the summer of 2023 when the district experienced an uptick in patron issues in the park. Chief Campworth took a proactive approach and worked with the district, recognizing this was a community issue and we all needed to work together, for which we very much appreciate. Prior to this and since becoming chief, Bob has been nothing but supportive of the Park District. We value your leadership and our partnership with the Park District.
Thank you.
Thank you all. And you're welcome to steal, but you do not need it. Will not be offended.
Say it now while you can, yes. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take a picture of you.
Good to see you.
And moving on to approval of minutes. I move to approve the regular board meeting minutes of February 1st, 2024, and the special board meeting minutes from February 1st, 5th, 6th, 7th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. On to report of park officials as president. I just wanted to report that I appreciated everybody's hard work and time spent away from family and home the last few weeks. My fellow board members, thank you as we go through the interviewing process, and we'll continue to go through that process the next couple of weeks. So thank you for your time and efforts on that. And I'd like to turn it over to our attorney. And now on to Executive Director Mont Custom.
I have 4 things, and they're all very
Do you have a mic?
good things. My mic. That would be good. So, well, first of all, the update on the Human Resource Director interviews. The staff team of superintendents and Diane are conducting the first round of interviews this week with 5 very qualified candidates. We'll keep you posted on that process, but it sounds like it's going very well, and there will be, a good decision to be made when that time comes. So the next thing is we heard from most of you. I don't know if all of you were here when we got awarded those Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity funds from Senator Murphy. And they were, DECIO, and they were awarded, but not, you didn't know when you were going to get them, right? The first example is the gate out there. So we, February 2nd, we heard from DECIO, and they're allocating the land acquisition funds. And that was $290,000. It was split $240,000 and $40,000. So prior to this, I had been communicating with Senator Murphy's office when we purchased 531 to see if we could use it for that. And they thought that we could, but you have to wait till the time comes. So I contacted the grant administrator for DECIO, and she basically said, you can, apply and the materials will be reviewed. So they didn't say no. And I told her we purchased it in 2020. So there is a chance that these funds could be allocated to that purchase, which would be really good. Because right now, I don't think at the moment, we don't have a property purchase on deck. So I will keep you posted on that. So that was good news. The other thing, we've been working with the affiliates on the AED purchase. Kind of goes back to the gentleman that came and talked to the board. He has spearheaded this whole process, Jeff Bursek, I believe his name is. He's part of baseball. So after the board approved that in the budget, I reached out to Gary Abazizian and to Jeff. And I don't know what happened with the grant that he was talking about, but baseball said that they would be willing to kick in funds. And then they were going to talk to football. And then I had Terry reach out to soccer. So the bottom line is that we straightened that out this week. And between the three organizations, they're giving $24,000 of the estimated $46,700 cost. So that was really good news as well. The third thing about financials and donations is pool chairs. Commissioner Grau called me on Monday and said that one of her friends at the country club said that they were getting new chairs and they were looking to donate their chairs. So we went over there right away. We met up with one of the board members and decided they're good for the park district. So there's 94 Chase lounges that we will be getting. So I think the plan is temporarily, Ethan looked and counted and put these at South Park and here at the splash pad, and then move the ones over, to Centennial, the other ones that are here. So that, that's a large amount of chairs. What's our normal purchase? Is like 10 to 15 a year or something, or 50? Yeah, so it's 94 chairs.
From the pictures, they look good. So they
Yeah.
must have been.
Right. I mean, we don't know how long the last, but it'll get us through, a summer or two with these. And then when they're gone, right? They're free. And there's some side tables too that we're also going to take. So, yeah. Huh?
I said, we're getting fancy.
We're getting fancy, some side tables. Exactly. So that is my report. And if there's anything else I can share, let me know from my reports.
Okay, so we will move on to finance. I move to approve for payment vouchers in the total amount of $742,138.26. Any discussion? And thank you. You helped review those. Thank you for doing that this week. Appreciate it. So, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner Grau,
Yes.
Commissioner Halting,
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc,
Yes.
Commissioner Bendy,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnel.
Yes. I'm sorry, you have a report.
That's okay.
I was so
You were so
taken back with the
excited.
news on the chairs that
I know. I know. I get it. I get it.
Get over
I apologize, sorry.
You need a moment.
Side tables.
Yeah. I know. We will make it happen for you.
John was confused because when Gail said they were for here, he thought the boardroom.
Yeah.
That'd be a bad idea. Oh, that's true.
Oh, that would be fun.
Like the grown-up version of having class.
All right.
My
I know.
the finance report begins on page 16. I have a few things to highlight. One is that Lauterbach and Eamon, the two auditors, were here for a day on January 26th, and they were here for almost the full day. Everything went really well. They did their preliminary field work, so that's a lot of testing, pulling documents from accounts payable, payroll, cash receipts, some journal entries, bank reconciliation. So it's sort of the first day that they come. They get a sense of how things are working here. And then they will be back for a full week on the week of March 11th. And that's additional testing, more in-depth testing. And then they will also be looking at the grants, things like that, capital. So it went really well. We were really pleased with how it went, especially because it was our new accounting manager's first audit. So it's a lot to keep track of. I also wanted to mention that we are still working through the closing journal entries and accruals. So the accrual deadline for staff, and let me back up. An accrual is something that is for the prior year but paid in the current year. So we want to make sure it's accounted for correctly in the proper year. So the deadline for staff was this week. In the updated December financials that you have in this packet, the AP accruals were everything that we had accrued through the last AP run in January. So we still have a couple weeks of February that we will need to accrue. And then there is a little bit of revenue that we're going to be accruing. One is a TIF payment from the city for about $96,000 that should be in 2023. And then a tiny bit of vending revenue. That check just came in today. So things are still a little in flux. I just want you to be aware of that. But you can see that we are estimating an $800,000 transfer from the rec and general funds into capital. So it was budgeted at $270,000, and even with 2023, we had some major changes to the budget. We had additional staff added. Even within that, we were still able to not just meet our budgeted transfer, but exceed it. Now, I'm going to say this, that's just tentative right now. Things can change, but as best as we can project right now, I'm decently confident that we'll be able to meet that. And then we start right into January. So the January report always looks a little funny. You're looking at December, you're looking at January, you're looking at the past, you're looking at the future. But if anyone has any questions about what's happening so far in January, I'm happy to answer that.
I have a question about last year.
Sure.
It looks like the only area that we had major overage was utilities. About 10% maybe? Thoughts?
There are going to be still some utility adjustments. So definitely our utility rates went up towards the last half of the year when we were doing both a natural gas bid and we had a utility bid about a year ago. And those rates did go up. That's the industry. So that's.
Do it after you budget?
Yes, exactly. So there's that. There are also some credits we're waiting for. When we were switching, we switched phone services from Mastergy to 8x8, and we also switched some Ethernet from WOW to Comcast, and we are still waiting for those credits. If we don't receive them before the audit, I'll accrue. We have a good idea what those will be, so that'll take it down a little bit. But in general, utilities were higher than budgeted, absolutely.
So hopefully the stuff Terry's looking at, the audit, energy audits will help in that area too.
Everything helps. Everything definitely helps. But it is,
Unfortunately, we're bidding after we budget.
Yeah.
It's such a crapshoot.
It is, and globally, it's just all energy costs went up. The war in Ukraine, what's happening in the Middle East, it's all affecting.
Right. And then, you're going through then. I don't have questions for January, but maybe someone else does.
Anyone? Okay. I also wanted to highlight the last point, which is about the investment portfolio. And what I wanted to highlight is that Gail and I have a meeting in early March with PMA to discuss the future debt plans and an investment plan related to Oakton. So they actually reached out to us and said, we know you're new, let's start meeting right away to talk about that. So I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll definitely look forward to reporting more about that with the board.
That's great. And just to back up, I think the budget numbers look great for the year. So I did point out one anomaly because I care about.
Oh yeah,
energy, but
absolutely.
it's been a great year, and that's fabulous. Can I ask about this cash position? I never really understood this graph, and I told Superintendent Larson when she was looking to cut would take that out because I don't ever know what it means.
Yeah.
I know I've never seen it do what it did this month.
Well, it does actually look similar because I was a little surprised too. So the reason it looks like this is because we project based on the budget, and
And it's
the actuals is in January. So once we get more data of actuals, then the lines start to pull apart a little bit because um, we've got we're projecting based on actuals as opposed to budget. When I did this, I looked at last year's January because I was like, this looks really weird, and it looked weird last year too.
oh, good.
So yay!
Year, so
Yeah.
I
It is
forgot.
good, right?
Yeah, the weird is
In
good.
this case.
I did talk to Commissioner Matza about this report after we had talked about it, and it is on my list to look at all the board reports. And he gave me some ideas, talk to me about maybe looking at some of the other reports that other districts do, because this is a little bit of a Frankenstein report. It had one purpose, it had another purpose got added on. So I would like to come up with maybe some ways to change this that it might be more useful. Talk to you about it. Is it useful at all to anyone?
I just never understand it. So that my main point was like, does it do that? But it's done that before.
Yes, it has done this before. Yeah, at the beginning of the year until we can base, because the way I'm really going in the weeds here, so you can tell me to stop. But the way that the numbers are calculated as we go forward, we, instead of basing our projection on budget, we're basing them on actuals. So then obviously things kind of shift around. But right now it's just matching budget.
But the budget, the yellow won't move, right?
Correct.
Right.
Right.
And the yellow has done that before.
Right.
Has it?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I just haven't paid attention, I guess. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're talking about this graph, Cindy?
Yeah.
Well, part of it, the reason it's so weird to read is it includes like the referendum.
Right.
Like the scale of the graph is all.
Right. Once we, right.
Oh,
Right.
we've talked
Yes,
about
yes.
that.
And we have talked about that.
I
Yeah.
There's $30 million
I
in here. but
yeah.
it's-
I
Right.
forgot
So
about
that makes it hard too, because the scale of the graph is all out of
Yes.
whack from what you've been used to.
Yeah.
for the
Right.
past
That makes sense.
Yep.
That totally
Thank you. You should be an accountant.
What?
Yeah, you should be an accountant.
Pass.
hard pass.
Any other questions about any of the reports or IT? Great. I think we have a couple resolutions and memos. Do you want me to talk about the first one and then go
That's
through?
on page 30 packet, I believe.
Yes. So the first resolution is talking about utilities. This is an electricity resolution. So if you remember a year ago, we used NIMAC and we had a bid process for all of our big accounts. And for Oakton in the activity center, we made the decision to only do a year term because we weren't sure what was going to happen with the construction. And, we all talked about wanting solar at those two locations. So we're at that year point again. The year ends in May, so we need to do another bid for electricity for just those two locations. Everything else was on a 2-year term. So we've got another year for it. So I talked to NIMAC, and what we thought made the most sense is to do a year term for these two. We'll know more information, right? We'll know more about what's happening at the activity center, what our plans are, and obviously we'll know more about Oakton also. And then that catches them up with the other accounts so that next year we're doing another group bid for all of our accounts. So what we recommended was that this bid will just cover the electricity at the activity center in Oakton. It will be a 1-year term, and we'll get renewable and non-renewable prices. For the bid last year, we did all renewable energy, and I would just, we'll take a look at the prices and see what we want to do. The bid date is March 6th, and this just gives Gail and I permission to react because we only have that day to say yes or no. So the resolution just gives us your permission to make that decision.
Won't we be in the same situation next year with those two facilities? I mean, maybe not the.
We're talking about maybe doing solar at Centennial, right?
Mhm.
If we, depending on how the bids come in for all these South Park and, Hinkley.
So that one we might be
That might
different
change.
next year, but Oakton is gonna be,
It lines it up with everything else.
okay. I think we talked about this years ago. Do we have any idea if we're getting a good deal by doing this? Is there any way of knowing? I mean, the knowing what you're gonna pay is the benefit. right?
Yes,
So it
yes.
just depends on the market.
It's
Yeah.
right.
know.
So we're not subject to swings.
But we could be at the top when we lock in.
We could. I mean, I can take on a project of trying to look at how to, what our other options are. So when I was looking back through what Sandra had in prior memos, I mean, at some point, I think they were gathering the data themselves.
Right.
Does that sound right? Like we were kind of doing the research ourselves and
It just didn't make sense because these people are they're the experts and they know the market. And
Well, yeah, but you just get a number. You don't get any benefit from those people. They tell you what the market's at that day and you say yes or no.
no, they,
You need to talk into the mic.
When you say the market, I mean, you're correct. They tell you what the market is, but they view all, when it comes to energy, there's the last mile group, and then there's a source anywhere in the country or even internationally. Most of our clients are with NYMEC and appreciate what the broker does. They search nationally for the cheapest source of power. And then, sometimes they've recommended here in Northern Illinois, Exelon ComEd is cheaper. No reason to go out to somebody else in the market because that rate's established by the ICC. So there's always a benchmark against which this stuff is reflected. So all I can tell you is that most folks stay with NYMEC, routinely stay with NYMEC because they hunt nationally for the best deal that day, whatever it is.
Yeah, but if you hunt for the best deal a week later, you might get a better deal.
But then you're out of energy for a period of time. You might not be able to firm up your supply. That's why there's they try to recommend, when you're going to hit the best shot at it. In addition to what the market rate is that day, they try to say, this is when we think you're going to hit it. But the same goes with bonds and everything else.
I mean, I can talk to NYMEC and see about trying to answer some of.
done, yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's just interesting to me, and this is what was in the back of my mind, and I don't really care if we do it or not. But like, what if those two facilities were not on a contract, and you saw what the difference was between what we were paying?
So our smaller locations are not like our parks and things like that are not on a contract. The usage is less though, so it's a little bit harder to compare. But I can give you a sense of what those rates are at the smaller locations. Like we only go to bid with our bigger locations.
Yeah, it's okay. You have a deadline here. It's just a discussion we've had in the past, and I understand it a little better now. I don't know. It just doesn't feel to me like you're getting the best deal. You're getting assured of what you're going to pay, but even then, we're doing it after we budget. So, yeah. So, if things got really bad, we could be in great shape. It's like insurance almost.
It is, yeah.
I feel like this is a good strategy for a public agency that needs to have budget certainty. And like Dirk said, like these folks know much more than we do.
It's their expertise.
But, they're not going to try to get us on something that's like higher than like what ComEd usually is. So I think it's a good strategy for our larger facilities. But I understand it's complicated. Even I don't completely get it, but the people, there are people
They get it.
They
Right.
get it. Like the
I think
people
when we
who work in this
Right.
industry, like
Right.
it's complicated, and it's good to have people who are like living
Kind of like the bonds,
every
like Dirk
day.
Right.
And that's what, when we first went this way, I think there was a really long explanation about that in the memo. So we could dig up.
Oh,
her
yeah.
memo,
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Right?
Yeah,
And-
oh
and
yeah. I'm
talk to
sure I
them
can,
again
I can
about it,
find,
but-
I could have them come and present at the board, and
I just.
they could meet you for coffee,
Oh,
you know, whatever you want. We
I'm
can
not
make that
against it.
They
happen.
can talk to you.
I appreciate understanding it better.
Yeah.
I do. So
Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions?
I move to approve resolution number 24-1, a resolution authorizing the participation in the Northern Illinois Municipal Electric Collaborative, NEMEC, and authorizing the executive director to approve a contract with the most optimal electricity provider for a period up to 36 months.
Second.
Any further discussion? May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Halting,
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc,
Yes.
Commissioner Bendy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bo,
Yes.
Commissioner Grau,
Aye.
Commissioner Tunnel.
Aye. Then we have another memo on
It's on page 37, I think. 38. Sometimes when I print, our numbers get off.
39.
Okay, 39. This memo is, Clover Connect and Card Connect are our merchant vendor credit card accounts. So that's when, you know, someone pays with a credit card, it, they manage it and then batch the deposit into our bank account. And we had an issue, and our accounts receivable clerk was trying to solve the issue, and we realized Sandra's name was on everything, and we couldn't get very far. We did create a workaround, and we got the issue solved, so that's taken care of. But we also wanted to make sure that we changed the contact information so that I was the legal contact and signer. There are just some papers that I had to fill out and sign with some information about me, the district, and Sandra, but they did need a board resolution stating that I have the ability to do this,
That you were hired?
that I was hired, and I really exist, which is fine, right? It's all, they need to make sure that it's all proper, so.
We recently went through the same ordeal
really?
where I work. So it's bound to happen.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, it's been lucky that it hasn't happened so far, because we knew that you can't think of everything when you're in a transition, and so.
I move to approve resolution number 24-2, a resolution appointing a legal contact and signer for Clover Connect, Card Connect.
Second.
Any discussion? We have another roll call, please.
Commissioner Leduc,
Yes.
Commissioner Bendy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bo,
Yes.
Commissioner Grau,
Aye.
Commissioner Halting,
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnel.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I turn it over to Recreation with Commissioner Leduc.
And I turn it over to Superintendent of Recreation, April Armour.
Thank you. My report begins on page 41. The first page is some of the highlights of the recreation team. They're attending the IPRA IAPD conference and some of the sessions they experienced and learned from. And they've been sharing ideas already, so that was a great experience for all. I did put a note, so the board is aware of, on the second page, page 42, that staff is working with the Historical Society on getting plans in place for their new event this May, so wanted to know about that. Camp registration was February 5th. The wait list that was put into place successfully handled the large volume of registration, so we were definitely thrilled with that. And we did have a lot more spaces available this year as well, just with everything that we reorganized internally. We had more spaces with the new nature center, and we also had our camp locations at the school set. I don't know if everyone recalls, but we did not have confirmation on those last year. So that helped tremendously also. So on the first day of registration, we have worked through a lot of these already, but there were 1,773 individuals on a wait list compared to 3,815 last year. And over half of these have a spot already in a second or in a camp, so it just might not be their first choice. So we're in a much better position than we were last year. We definitely appreciate and rely on the schools to accommodate so many of our participants too. And then a lot of these are also the specialty camps, the ones that have really limited spots and that, we just can't accommodate due to space. So staff is working diligently in managing the wait list and shifting things around. The Sun and Me Magic Night event was very popular this year. We had to add a whole second session. That has not happened previously. I did also want to point out the athletics participation is the highest it's been, as well as the Nature Center visitors, record numbers, despite, if you recall, how cold it was. And a little side note, one of our visitors from the public posted a video, I don't know if anyone saw it, of Fig, the big turtle that wanders around. And over 10,000 people viewed it, and people are coming in looking for the big turtle. So
Went viral.
So we've been keeping an eye on that and being very amused by the people coming in to search for Fig. So it's kind of fun. Oakton has been very busy this January with participants as we're preparing to shut down the facility. The STAR membership has over 400 members, so that's great compared to last year. It's just wonderful to continue to see their membership grow, and of course to see all the wonderful programs event that were offered last month. There was a slight decline in participation in January, which was definitely a direct result of the weather. The seniors definitely tend to stay home when it's too cold or inclement weather. Despite some of the same weather challenges and a morning close with the new HVAC installation, the fitness center saw strong participation in January, as well as the athletics. They had their private lessons definitely suffered from the weather, so those were on the decline, but it was, a lot of families with small children that didn't want to come out in the cold even when we were open for a swim lesson. And they're, of course, preparing for spring and then summer hiring along with so many others. And then the final page notes some events that occurred this week as well as throughout March. I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Well, I just had a couple of comments. One is that I think it's adorable that there's going to be nature center trading cards, and I think that's like a very cute promotional thing, and
That's
especially
Margaret's idea.
especially after finding out about Fig going viral, which is fantastic.
Oh, was he?
Nice. Well, and then also I just wanted, one of my friends texted me on February 5th about the camp virtual waiting room, and I just wanted to read the comment because I told her I would share it. Jen, the camp virtual waiting room worked really well this morning. I was only in it for a minute, so she wanted me to share that, and
Great.
yeah, I mean, getting positive feedback. It's good when you get texted by a friend on a day like that, and it's a good thing, right? So
Last year it wasn't. Yeah.
so kudos to you and all of your staff.
It's great. Yeah, people were so happy. They were so happy.
Great.
And even people from other communities were commenting, "Oh, I wish ours would have been like that." So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
I participated that morning for the first time because I'm going to have a busy husband this summer. And I waited for 10 minutes and I got like almost everything I needed. And then I got a wait list. I got the wait list email earlier this week. And I'm like, okay. And I had him signed up for like a half day camp, and I emailed him to say, pull him out of that one and put him into this one. So it went relatively smoothly for me. And yes, Jen and I definitely both hear. We both hear if something goes south. Like people are, I get texts and Facebook messages and all kinds of things. Yeah, so I was happy that I got to experience it and it went well. So it was good. So for hiring, like how are you doing on hiring? I mean, you're opening up spots now, but I assume you haven't hired up for all the spots that you have.
No, we
open.
have not, but
Okay.
we're assuming this year, because last year we, except for a few camps on the end of the summer.
Yeah.
We had some challenges then, but we
Okay.
are under the assumption we're going to be fully staffed again this year. And
So-
we have no awesome August because of the shift in the school
Yeah.
schedule. So that
Okay.
will not be a challenge.
They're lined up? The schedules are lined up?
Yes.
Yes. So my next job is to start encouraging friends with older kids to have them apply to be counselors this summer. Yeah.
Even medium-aged kids, they can do in training and be there next, and, do it next year.
Yeah. So thanks. I was a newbie and it is very harrowing. Like I watched that dude walk across in the waiting room and I was just like, I had to distract myself doing something else.
Just the waiting.
Yeah, it's the waiting.
I had someone ask me, and I don't know who can answer this, and maybe nobody can tonight, when they can reserve the new patio that's being poured at Maine. Like, will that be open before the playground? No. Yeah, I told her
So-
not to count on it. It'll be weather dependent then. Yeah.
Similar to Woodland, we would post when it's available.
So you won't take any reservations until you know it's going to open.
Right.
That's what I told her. Okay.
Any other commissioner comments or questions? All right, thank you very much. And now I'll hand it over to Commissioner Bendy for Buildings and Grounds.
Thank you very much. And Superintendent Wolf, thank you.
Thank you. My report begins on page 51. Just a few things that have come up since this report was published that I just want to highlight. On Monday, the 12th, we did receive back additional review comments from the city on the Oakton permit request or permit application. They did approve a few more packages, and additional conversations have been had between our team at White as well as the city. They're being very accommodating and helpful in working towards having a permit out there. In fact, they have indicated that, and in my conversations with White, indicated that we should have no problem with seeing at least partial permits to get work started here in the next handful of weeks. So we do have a meeting scheduled for the beginning of March to talk about the overall budget. It'll be probably the week after we open up this last bid package, talk about some alternates. And we're working together, and we're meeting as a team to kind of talk about the schedule and how that's all going to work, and when that project is going to start. But it looks like we're on track for the end of March, mid-March, to get everything started out there at Oakton. So that's moving along. I do also just want to point out that Hinckley Park did start this week with some selective demolition. There's a crew out there working, as well as working, same company, but they're also working at Main Park on the playground out there. So that'll continue on. They have indicated to us that they are committed to and will complete that project by the completion date in July. So Jennifer has said that she will be hounding them daily, weekly, whatever it takes, because she is tired of a few delays that we've had on some of these other projects. So, and then the last thing of note, I just want to mention, kind of in conjunction with Director DeGangi's report, is that we are beginning SEIU collective bargaining agreement negotiations, and they're scheduled for the week of February 26th. So, otherwise, I'd be happy to answer any questions about anything that's in my report.
Any questions for Terry? No?
Congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
It's always nice to be recognized. Is the July day for Main Park or the July for Hinckley?
July for Hinckley. I don't know. I don't have the date for Main Park offhand, but I do believe it's in June.
I don't feel bad that I don't know. I can never keep track. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Right?
When will Oakton close again? What's the date?
So the last day of programming for Oakton is the February 25th. There are hockey games on the 26th, and then there's a possibility that there might be some opportunities for a couple of one-off things that we have to kind of talk through just from a scheduling perspective. But we're kind of narrowing that down. It's a it's a big project with a lot of moving pieces, with permitting and contractors and construction, and so we're trying to funnel that in and but get the project moving.
And we have
So,
MWRD still outstanding.
yeah, we do have MWRD outstanding, but the preliminary conversations with the city has been very positive on
Right.
that front, that we should be able to get started with things. So.
Just throwing that out there. And also, we're going to do a groundbreaking before we, once we know the timing. So staff is meeting about that. Is that meeting tomorrow?
Yep.
Yeah, tomorrow. We're meeting about that tomorrow.
Lots of meetings.
Keep you posted.
Right. Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, turn this over to Commissioner Grau for policy.
All right, we have a policy tonight. I know you're all excited to hear me talk more. Margaret worked with our attorneys on this. Do we need to say more? You've all read it. We talked about it last month. I'll make the motion, and if there's any more questions, we can handle them then. I move to approve the amended general social media policy and terms of use, section 3.301 of the Administrative Policy Manual as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, will you call the roll?
Commissioner Bendy?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Grau?
Yes.
Mr. Halting?
Yes.
Commissioner Leduc?
Aye.
Commissioner Tunnel?
Okay, that is it for policy. Intergovernmental is.
Hmm?
Intergovernmental.
I don't have anything today.
All right.
Is there any communications and correspondence?
None.
Is there any new business?
I had something. It was silly. Can't remember.
Saying that you can't remember, we'll move on. I move to adjourn to close meeting for the purpose to discuss specific personnel, 2C1. Any discussion? Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Grau?
Yeah, aye.
Commissioner Halting?
Aye.
Commissioner Leduc?
Aye.
Commissioner Bendy?
Yes.
Commissioner Tunnel?
Aye. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?